Lazaro Gomez, and I'm an artist on YouTube, and I do a Friday night live stream, and now I'm starting to do a podcast. So I wanted to kind of create this podcast to just, talk about different things related to art and also to de stress a little bit from the day to day art tasks that I have to do and just draw, just doodle. And I kind of wanted to just talk about that sort of stuff and, more importantly, why doodles are important. So, um, this will be episode one of Noodle Doodle, and I'm doing basically the introduction of what the show is and what it's going to be. So, it's just simply that. It's, something that you could listen to while you're working on artwork or just have in the background or driving or maybe going right before you go to bed or something like that. You could listen to an episode of Noodle Doodle. So for me, I will be just drawing, just doodling. I have various sketchbooks that I use to kind of, you know, do different ideas or basically just like it's my way of just kind of detaching, Sometimes you have really good art pieces or art ideas that come out just from doodling, and I think that's important. So for this episode, we're just going to talk about uh, exactly that, like why are doodles important? You know, you always hear people talk about or other artists talk about how you should sketch every day and you should draw every day or do something every day. And I think when it comes to being a professional, that's that's important. You should be in your craft every single day. So whether you play sports or you're an artist or a musician or anything like that, I think it's important to be active every day. And for an artist, you always want to have your art hands ready, and basically, you know, um, just basically stay active. Stay active, and doing doodles is a good way to stay active. I have, as I mentioned before, several sketchbooks, and some of them are small, some of them are big, and I'll talk about the different sizes of sketchbooks in another episode. Uh, but mainly, I do carry a small field sketchbook with me, and that particular sketchbook has a lot of really good ideas that I've just jotted down. So during a lunch break or maybe a commute somewhere, I will open up that little sketchbook and maybe do a little doodle. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be anything constructive. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece, right? So a lot of people worry about showing sketchbooks and things like that. Oh, it's not my best work. Don't look at this. This is a sketchbook of just horrible stuff. And and I think people take that too serious. A sketchbook is exactly that. It's you just jotting down ideas. It's your brain you know, it's your brain basically at the playground. When you go to the playground, are you thinking about how fast you're gonna go down a slide, or how accurate are you swinging on the swings? Not really. You're there to have a good time, and at least for me personally, I think that a lot of artists they forget to have fun. They forget to doodle and work in their sketchbooks, and they're afraid that whatever whatever they do on their sketchbook is going to be ridiculed, or it's going to be the artist is going to be measured by whatever they have in their sketchbook. And to me, that's just ridiculous. If you look at, my sketchbooks, a lot of them are just really full of nonsense. Sometimes I'll get, a pen and just do circles or lines or hatches. Or sometimes I'll draw a leaf. Sometimes, I'll draw characters that I come up with. Uh, it could be anything, It could be anything that you think of. And I think as artists, we have to remember that. We have to remember that our sketchbooks are basically an extension of our imagination, right? So it's like this magical tool that's recording recording our brain on idle, you know. And the cool thing about doodles is that you can do that, and I started thinking about that, and I started thinking about, sketchbooks and doodles and the work that I do, and how do I do multiple things at the same time, and that's really how Noodle Doodle came about. I want to do a podcast that, or a podcast or whatever, webcast, um, that I could talk about different topics, kind of, shoot from the hip, all while relaxing, doing some doodles, and just, having a good time. So basically, this is the distress time for me, right? So I'm constantly doing artwork. I'm a very busy artist, um, doing a lot of commissions and stuff like that. And I do tend to forget how to have fun. I forget that I should be at the playground just kind of having a good time. And so that's where the idea of Noodle Doodle came from. And I hope that I hope that you guys enjoy this. I know that this particular episode is short. It's just an introduction, and there'll be more to come. So we'll be tackling different kinds of topics. But yeah, so this is Noodle Doodle, basically a podcast where I talk about different things. I clear my throat, uh, but a lot of you who know me know that I don't take myself too serious. So uh, this is exactly that. It's a laid back, relaxed little session where you could just kind of hang out and listen. Listen to what we're covering. So I think, like I said, doodles are important. I think all artists should at least, I don't know, maybe once a day, you know, just kind of bust out that old sketchbook and just do a little doodle. It could be anything. It could be a stick figure, a dinosaur. It could be anything. But for the most part, the important thing to take away from this is that you're active and you're doing something, and you know, you're just having fun with it, right? You're having fun with it. So yeah, I hope that, like I mentioned before, that this is something that you would enjoy and you would like, and uh, kind of benefit from it. So doodles, noodle doodles. Usually for me, I have a couple of sketchbooks. So right here, this is the 300 drawing prompt book. I know that other artists have used these before, and there are some artists on YouTube that use these. And my wife got this for me, I want to say about 2 Christmases ago. And it is blank. It is completely blank. And I think the reason why it's blank is because um, I was afraid to doodle in it. My own advice, right? I'm basically telling you guys to draw and doodle and not be afraid. But this book has been on my shelf for quite some time, and every time I thumb through it, Tooth Fairy, Aladdin's lamp, something abstract, and you thumb through a little bit more, and you have a tribal spear and grandfather clock, gecko and a sheriff's badge, and a little further down the road, you have an Egyptian pharaoh, an exit sign, and an old pocket watch. And these are cool. They have little prompts. It's a small little sketchbook that you could take with you, uh, and you could just doodle. And for a long, long time, as I mentioned, I was afraid of I was afraid of doing anything in this book because of that. Because I kept thinking, oh my God, angel wings. What am I going to draw about? Angel wings. Right? That's the first prompt that's in the book. Angel wings. And I can never think about anything but but of course here on Noodle Doodle, we're just gonna go for it, right? So you just not really thinking about it, and that's the concept of the podcast is to not really think about anything, just doodle, just draw, and that's part of the fun. So I decided to tackle my own tackle my own demons, if you would, um, and draw something. You know, draw something in the book and not worry about what it needs to be. So, so yeah, like I mentioned before, my wife got this book for me, and I thought it was the neatest thing when she found it. Uh, there we go. You're a little angel. not not exactly what I normally draw, but hey, we're going for it. Yeah, when my wife when my wife got this book for me, I thought it was the neatest thing, right? I thought it was so cool. It's like, oh man, you get these art prompts and you draw, and I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna draw on this thing, right? It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna do a daily sketch. It's gonna be great. And then I kept looking at the book and looking at the book, and wow, what do I what do I draw? So right away you can right away you could see that uh, right away you could see that it defeated the purpose, right? The purpose is for you to do a daily doodle, uh, and just draw something based on whatever prompt you have. And I kept struggling. I'm like, oh, man, what am I gonna draw? What am I gonna draw? And of course, hey, just draw something stupid. That's what the book is about, right? Just draw. And it's oop, I hit the microphone by accident. And it's interesting because um, it's interesting because a lot of the times that's what happens. We forget that we create artwork not only to inspire or to express ourselves, but at the same time we have to remember to have fun, right? To have fun with this sort of thing. We've been given a gift uh, of expression through art, and I think that's kind of important. Uh, so yeah, we have to remember to draw. And like I said, with this book, uh, my wife got this for me, and I thought it was really really, really cool. I thought it was a really neat idea, and I went to draw in it and really hit a wall. I was like, man, what the heck? I really want to draw on this thing, but nothing's coming out. Nothing's coming out, and the reason why is because I was being entirely way too critical with this book. I was thinking about what I was gonna draw, and instead of just like, hey, just draw, man. And just looking at it on the shelf, I said, you know what? Let's let's tackle that. Let's tackle that. Let's do something about this. Let's doodle. Let's draw. Let's have a good time. And at the same time, um, at the same time, let's have a good time, right? Let's have a good time and let's do something about that. Let's do something about that. So yeah, that's the idea of Noodle Doodle. I'm gonna use this prompt book for every episode, and we're gonna draw something different. And I'm just gonna doodle and talk and give you guys something, uh, you know, something to think about once a week. So yeah, yeah, I like that. It gives me a chance to de-stress. So yeah, angel wings. I drew a little. I drew a little character. I'll probably develop it some more, but it's a start. I did my daily doodle, I guess, and got something down on paper that I could develop. And I always think about Jake Parker because he says finished is better than perfect. And man, I can't agree anymore. You know, I feel good. I made the very first episode of Noodle Doodle, and I drew for the very first time in a book of prompts that my wife gave me 2 years ago. So that's a pretty good feeling. I gotta say that's pretty good. It's a start, right? It's a start. Well, anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll probably do this once a week. Upload maybe Saturday morning. I don't know. Still figuring it all out. Um, there's a band I listen to called The National, and one of their lyrics is, "Let's try not to figure everything out all at once." And I think for the most part, a lot of us do that. We try to cram in, 50 hours of things to do in an 8-hour shift. And I don't think it's meant to be that way. I don't think it's meant to be that way at all. So we'll figure it out as we go along. I got my coffee. I got my sketchbook. And I hope you guys enjoy this. And let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Is this something that you want to continue exploring? Maybe you're like, hey, shut up and just draw. We're here to see you draw. We don't care what you say. That's entirely possible. And I'm the type of person that I get it. I understand it. Um, 43 years of life have given me a pretty thick skin. And thank God that my parents gave me an incredible sense of humor because I do tend to find funny things and messed up things. But that's all right, that's all right. So, anyways, that was it. I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching or listening, however you're consuming this. Thanks for watching Noodle Doodle. I hope you stay around for a long time, and we'll see you next time. I'll see you next time.